Let's talk about Yo MTV Raps. Did you know Ed before the gig at Yo MTV Raps?
Famous story, everybody always asks. No, we didn't know anything about us. Ed knew of me from being on BAU. Ed knew of me for being on Def Jam. Ed knew of me for DJing with the Beasties. But I didn't know Ed Lover directly. We met actually at the audition for Yo MTV Raps Today, which was the daily show. Fab Five already had the job on the weekend.
Correct.
A good friend of mine at the time who knew me from working with the Beasties, a guy named Peter Doherty, used to watch me DJ at different lofts in the city for a gentleman named Pete Beaver and Jessica Rosenblum. He saw me at one of the things, walked to me and said, "Hey, man. Hey, Dre, how you doing?" I said, "Hey, what's going on, Pete?" While I'm working too, Pete decides to have a conversation. "Yeah, Pete, I'm just DJing a party. Why not have a full-blown conversation?" "Look, man, have you seen Yo MTV Raps?" I said, "Yeah. You mind coming to my office? I want to talk to you about it." "Really? You want me to critique it?" He said, "Pete, Dre, I want you to come down." So he hands me his card. I said, "Where's your office?" It has a Shamrock on it and MTV. I'm like, "Oh, shoot. Pete does work for MTV. I forgot."
Mm-hmm.
Pete calls me in his office and he tells me about the show. And, we go over what's going on with the Beasties, and I told him why I left. He said, "I thought you were going to leave sooner than that." He said, "I saw what they were doing." I said, "Yeah, but long story, we still had good feelings to each other. I still could speak to them from time to time." And he told me what they were thinking about doing. And he said, "We're thinking about doing a daily show. Would you be interested?" I said, "Interested in what?" "Interested in working on Yo MTV Raps." I said, "Yeah, what is a producer, segment producer?" He said, "Yeah, what do you think it needs?" I said, "I like Fab. I love Fab." I said, "But you need a little entertainment fact, little fun in there. Because hip-hop's not all just straight and hard questions. It's not what you do on MTV, too. It has a personality, and you have to let that personality breathe with it." So he said, "What can you do?" I said, "I'll come up with something." He said, "Let me know." So I called him back, and I said, "Look, we're going to do this segment at a barbershop. You want to come check it out?" "Yeah, let me know." He comes out, and we were going to do this thing about haircuts, that we were going to put on Fab Show, like a segment. The guy that was supposed to be there didn't show up, and I knew the whole thing, and we were going to shoot it on our home VHS. T was going to school, actually, for television and film at NYU.
Mm-hmm.
Not NYU, at New York Tech. The guy's late. Peter's days, "Yo, man, I got to go. Can you get this done? Dre, just let me see something so I can take it back to the office." I hop in a chair. Our barber, starts cutting my hair. I do all the stuff he was supposed to do. He takes it. Boom. I got it. Boom. Come see me at the office. I go visit him again on Monday. After that, and he goes, "You're in." I said, "I'm in what?" He says, they want to spin Yo MTV Raps off to a daily show. Are you interested in doing what? Hosting Yo MTV Raps during the day. Now I'm looking around saying to myself, this is MTV, Downtown Julie Brown, Fab Five Freddy, Martha Quinn, all these skinny white people. I said, "Pete, do you see me?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" "I'm a big fat black guy from Long Island. And you want me to be on what? MTV? Let's see what's wrong with everything that you say." He says, "No, you're perfect. You're great. I'm introduce you to my AP, my associate producer. I want you to go talk to Ted." "Ted who?" "Ted Demme." Now he says Demme, and I'm going, is he related to Jonathan Demme, the director? Nah, couldn't be. Go down the hall. I meet Ted Demme. We shake hands. "Hey, man, hey. Yo, I heard a lot about you." Now, of course, I'm in there. I'm wearing my Def Jam jacket because they made the deal with Sony and CBS at the time. So I had this black Def Jam jacket trying to be impressive because I'm like, first of all, there's no way in hell you're hiring this big fat black guy to be on MTV as a host. That's crazy. But as I walk down, I go to Ted's office. I see this skinny black guy sitting outside. And he has his hair cut in a little Gumby with gold in it. And I'm like, oh, they're playing me. "Okay, Dre, just what do you got to lose?" I sit with Ted. We shoot an audition tape. He loves it. "That's great. It's great. Go back down to Pete's. I'll call you back." So as I'm walking out, I see Ed get up. I didn't know it was Ed at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he walks in. I said, "Yeah, there's sucker in you." Now I definitely know you're not getting that skinny guy. He's got everything. He's tall. He's got the Gumby haircut. He's got whatever's in his hair. Whatever. Let me go talk to Pete. I'm cool. At least I came in. I saw what MTV looks like from the inside. I'm back with Pete. We're talking, laughing. Ted comes running in the door. "Hey, can I see you a second again?" Yeah, let me stop. Okay. He said, go ahead. So I run back down to his office. He sits down and says, hey, man, this is Ed Lover. I said, hey, Ed Lover, I'm doctor. He says, I know who you are. We shake hands. He says, look, I got an idea. Could you guys audition together for a second? I just want to see something. So like, yeah. So we did some audition stuff and we laughed and joked for a second. So Ed and I spot these Jamaican dreadlock wigs hanging on Ted's coat rack. We take them off, we put them on, and we start doing this whole impromptu Jamaican thing. Ted films the whole thing and he loves it. I love it. Picks up tape, runs down the hall. I said, hey man, nice meeting you. Talk to you later. Yo, bro. He said, yeah, man, I know about your song, man. That's crazy. I've been listening to y'all for years on BAU. Oh, cool, man, cool. I said, yeah, I think I heard you before, Ed. Yeah. So I go back to Pete's office. Ted comes back in. Yo, can you come down to my office? Come down to his office. Ed's there. Ed was outside, walks back in. We sit down. He says, I got an idea. I want to know if you guys would like to host the Daily Show together. I think it'll work good as a team.
And that's the way it got off the ground.
Yeah, we looked at each other, and I said, I guess I mean, to me, because you know, I got all that in my head about being large and that, no way in hell. I said, why not? We'll see what happens. I went back to Peter's office. He talked to me, and he said, now let me tell you something. I don't know this Ed guy at all. I don't know who he is, but I offered you the job. If you want it, it's your job. And I said, can I think about it? He said, take your time. You got till tomorrow morning. Then you'll either do or you don't. I said, let me go do that. So I left, hopped in my car, and I drove all night long. I went up to 510 South Franklin, and nobody was really there. And I called everybody, and I spoke to Chuck. No, everybody was there when I first got there, and I told them what would happen. And I think it was Hank who said, no, Dre, we need to hold out. We need to make sure that you get the job by yourself. Screw that. I don't care. I said, Hank, you know nothing about TV. What are you speaking of? Chuck said, no, Dre, fuck Hank. Hank's crazy right now. You go do that. You do that. You do the TV thing. We're doing the record thing. You doing the record thing. We can do all of this. And we can do radio thing. You do that TV thing. Keith came out. He said the same thing. Butch, you know, yo, you going to be on TV every day? I'll wait till I see it. So I got back and I just drove all night. I drove the length of Long Island and back. I came back home. The sun was coming up. And I sat in my driveway. And I went downstairs about 10 o'clock. And I called Pete around 10:05. And I said, I'll do it.
Can you talk to me? Because this was, Yo MTV Raps was groundbreaking for hip hop. Yes. It was the only nationally syndicated show dedicated to rap music. So this
wasn't syndicated.
Wasn't syndicated.
Yo MTV Raps was broadcast from right to left on MTV, a cable network. That's what it was.
Correct. So
the thing about Yo, because we have to give homage and praise out to Ralph McDaniels, Lionel Martin for Video Music Box, but they were doing it here locally. We also have to Carlos De Jesus, who did New York Hot Tracks. We was always fascinated. Even when we were on at Delphi University at BAU, we did a cable thing, or was a UHF thing.
But the thing, where I'm going with this is, this was the first that I know of national show.
Yes.
That if you lived in Des Moines or you lived in, somewhere on the West Coast.
If you lived in Houston, down in the 7th Ward, you saw it. You lived in Louisiana, in New Orleans, you could see it. Atlanta, Miami, Detroit, Colorado, Washington State,
So you
LA.
were bringing a face to hip hop.
We were bringing hip hop's reality. No, I changed that. We were bringing rap music visually to the country.
What was that experience like for you? Because it's groundbreaking at the time.
It was, at the time, never been done before. I would equate it to American Bandstand when they probably first turned the lights on and they did it and they brought rock and roll in everybody's home. I would equate it to the Ed Sullivan Show. I'm showing my age. So the Jackson 5 and the Supremes and the Temptations and Smokey Robinson and groups like that performing on the Ed Sullivan Show. We were bringing, Fab was doing a great job. He really was. But his show was, on location. He'd interview the artists. And at that time, for Yo, it was only an hour show on the weekend. But I was on the what they call the pilot episode, which Run DMC hosted at the Nassau Coliseum at the Def Jam tour. Because I was on stage introducing Public Enemy, which is ironic that I did that. And Run D and J were hosting Yo MTV Raps. It got the hugest ratings of MTV at the time. Well, it didn't have ratings, but the recognition of it for a special. And was repeated over and over again. And I remember so many times seeing it. But it was like, "Yo, Dre, that's you on stage." Like, yeah, but I wish we could do the show. Because we had ventured into trying to do something like that. Thing called the Word Show, the World of Rock and Dance, which there was a host, and then we were at BAU and we were doing the stuff with Bill. Stephanie was trying to put it together. Chuck was doing the graphic stuff, and we were thinking we were gonna do that. But we never imagined the opportunity to actually be on a camera every day. So when this came around, and this grand blessing, as we call it, it was honestly, every 2 weeks we were worried that we were going to get shut down. So we never took it serious. That's why every show we did in those early years, it was all or nothing. So if we got cut, hey, we did it our way. And the one thing I got to give credit to Doug Herzog and Judy McGrath of MTV, who sanctioned the show, and Peter Doherty and the late great Peter Doherty and late great Ted Demme and Ted Demme's vision, because he was the one who was actually pushing it hard. But Yo existed prior to this, but it was in England. It had existed. What happened was you had, like I said, Video Music Box with Ralph McDaniels. They did what they did. You had other local shows all over the country who played videos, because New Edition and all those things. But the one thing we got, when we stepped into that Daily Show, we didn't have a whole lot of videos to play with. So we would play Bob Marley, James Brown, Parliament Funkadelic, alongside of whoever had a video. Remember, videos weren't being made that way. Even Ralph McDaniels and them started jumping on videos. P.E.'s first video was Night of Living Bassheads. That's the second album. The only videos that were being made were rock and roll artists and Run DMC of that level. Even if you saw the video for The Message, and even because I directed a video by the Bad Boys, for the Bad Boys, because I used to be the promotions director at Starlight Records with Fred Lockhart, there weren't a whole bunch of videos up there. And the videos were so low budget. You know that. We went through that process.
Absolutely.
So when we got that opportunity, because of my programming background and my radio background and my BAU incubus, I call it, that petri dish, I knew what to do to visually make this kind of pop with Ted. Ted had the chops of MTV and be able to make the segments a certain way and put the bumpers in and the logos and all the stuff that needed. But I knew how to twist and program the artists. And with Ed's help, he had a certain sensibility that helped work for everything. So we made up everything on the fly. So the one thing I told Ted when we went to go to the first episodes, I said, "That turntable, does it work?" I said, "I need that." So what are you going to do? Can you plug that in on the set? He said, "Yeah, I want that, and I'm going to bring a mixer." He said, "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to play live music under our segments." "You're going to do what?" "We're on music television, right?" "I'm going to play live music." So we're not going to just talk and we look like Downtown Julie Brown, Martha Quinn, or any of those JJ Johnson, or any other VJ on MTV. We're going to look like we're like this crazy thing that's on your TV. So I'm going to put some music to it because I had entertainment value.